everyone. So we are going to get started on another instructional painting video. This one was actually requested by Ashlyn, who is getting ready to turn 10. She is having a birthday party and chose this painting, so I'm gonna take you through the steps on how to paint it, and I wish Ashlyn a very, very happy birthday. Today I have a little assistant with me, Miss Emmy. She's gonna be helping us with our painting. And we'll go ahead and get started here. So for this painting, instead of having our canvas up and down, we're going to do side to side. Unless you have a square canvas, you can use a square canvas as well, and obviously anyway is perfect for that. But if you do have a rectangular canvas, we're going to have it side to side. And then for this painting, we're going to need pink, black, yellow, and teal. And then if you don't have pink, you can obviously mix red and white. Like I normally say, I like recommending that you have all of your primary colors at least, because then from there you can mix any of the colors along with a black or a white, so that way you can make it a little lighter or a little darker depending on what the color or what the painting calls for. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pink and we're going to paint our entire canvas. So obviously the bigger brush, the better. It'll just go faster. And we want to do long brush strokes. Move my paint here so you can see. I'm going to do long brush strokes all the way across the canvas. And I normally recommend putting just like a little tablecloth down. I get mine, at the dollar store, just those little plastic tablecloths, just to protect your table from any paint. Acrylic paint is usually pretty easy to come off once it's dried. So if you do happen to get some on the table, I recommend waiting until it dries to try and wipe it up. Comes off the skin really easily, and if you do get it on the clothes, if you put a little bit of rubbing alcohol on it before you put it in the wash, it should come out, but it is trickier to get it out of clothes. So we're taking our pink paint all the way across the canvas. And if you or somebody you know is having a birthday party and they would like a painting instructed for them and they want to pick out which one they want, you can always email me at themommyartist92@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook at themommyartist92, and just send me a message and let me know, and I'd be more than happy to do one for you. So I always go back over the paint that I painted already. Just make sure that it's all smooth. You don't have any paint globs. It's going to help with drying. Plus it's going to help with, once it is dry, just making it look more cohesive. You're not going to have giant paint globs or paint brush marks. We want it to look like this canvas was pink the whole time. Don't we? Right, once you have the surface all painted, you want to make sure that you go through the edges and get those all painted as well. We don't want to see any white left on our canvas. while that's still wet, we're going to take a little bit of our white. Is that funny? We're going to take a little bit of our white and we're going to kind of brush it through some of that pink just to give it a little texture so it's not so one-dimensional. So you're just going to slap it on there and then kind of pull it through your painting. So you're going to pull it all the way through till it gets nice and blended. And again, we want to do long brush strokes so it doesn't make it look any different. And if you feel like you got too much white and you're kind of losing the pink, you can always take the pink and go back through to kind of blend in that white a little bit so it's not so bold. But you just want to keep taking your long brush strokes all the way across until you get the texture that you're looking for, or the background anyway. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. Everybody's is going to turn out a little different, which is what I like, depending on how much white or how much pink that they used. All right, so I'm going to stop mine there, and I'll show you here what it looks like. So we pulled that white all the way through, so we have some thicker areas of pink and some white, and it just made a pretty kind of granite look with the pink and the white there. So now we're going to let this dry. You can either use a hair dryer to kind of speed up the process or kind of just sit and hang out for a little bit, and we'll come back for the next step after it's all dried. All right, so once your painting is all dry, we're going to take kind of a smaller brush, about that size, one that's good for doing outlines, and our black. And we're gonna draw our two bird friends here. So we're going to start with the feet, and I'll do mine first here and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing. All right, so we kind of made 3 dots. And then from there we drew our lines up and curved them around to a 4th dot here. And then we're going to take that up. And their legs are not perfect lines by any means, so So don't worry about getting your line super straight. And then we got another foot over here. We're gonna kind of do the same thing. Kind of drag it out there. Their legs get a little wider as you get to the top here. So we're just going to make that a little wider. Look about like that. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so once we have the feet done, we're going to take our black and we're going to start on the body of the bird. Okay. So the body of the bird kind of starts in a loop right around here. Like that. And then it's at a point here at the tip of his tail. And then we kind of loop up around like that. And you can go back through and make your lines a little more bold. We want a nice thick outline for our bird. It should be like that. And we're going to do the same thing for this bird. So we got our two birds here. All right, and then their beaks are kind of pointed up. And then we have their wings. Come off like that. So this is where we should be at now. You got your two birds, their beaks, their feet, their wings. And in the middle of those two birds, we're going to do the outline of a heart here. Right. And then we're gonna need to let all of this black dry before we go through and fill it in. So again, you can either use a hair dryer or just kind of hang out a little bit until it's completely dry, and we'll come back and fill in our birds. Okay, so for this next part is where you get to be a little bit creative. So you can take those other colors that I originally mentioned at the beginning of the video. Or if you have other colors at your house, those work too, whatever colors you want to use. And we're going to do different designs wherever there is a blank spot. So inside the bird will be one design, inside the wing will be another, and inside the beak will be another. So we're just going to do different paint patterns. So I'm going to start with inside my bird here. And I'm going to start with my teal color. Funny noises. And at first I'm just going to paint the whole inside of the bird with my teal. And it's okay if you go over your black lines a little bit. You can always go back through at the end and kind of bolden out those lines, so don't worry about that. All right, so the whole inside of my bird I painted teal. And then in the other bird, I'm gonna paint the inside of my wing with the teal. Like that. All right, so now you're gonna take another color. I'm gonna use my yellow. Like I said, you can use any colors you want. This is the part where you get to be a little creative with your bird. I'm gonna paint the whole inside of my other bird yellow. So while we're sitting and just kind of painting, I'm sure you guys are all having a great time at Ashlyn's party. Why don't we go around the table and everybody say their favorite color. So we'll start with Ashlyn, and let's go around the table to the right, and everybody talk about their favorite color. And let's find out if we're using it for your bird or not. So Ashlyn, what's your favorite color? And who's next? I like using my favorite colors in my paintings because it just makes it a little more personable. My favorite colors are purple and yellow. So I don't have any purple on my table, but I plan on making it with my blue and my red. All right, so I got the whole inside of my other bird painted yellow there. And then I'm gonna do the inside of my blue bird's beak yellow. All right, so now we're gonna need another color. I'm going to use my orange. And I'm gonna do the inside of my bluebird's wing with the orange. And I'm going over those black lines. You want to make it look like the wings on the outside. So you can go over those black lines that your wing goes over and fill that completely in. Looks like my orange is kind of light, so I'm probably going to have to do a couple coats. all of our colors bold and filled in. Again, I'm gonna have to do a couple coats, maybe in the yellow and the orange, just to kind of get rid of that black outline that's sitting underneath. But I'm just gonna let it dry before I do that. And now I'm going to make my purple by taking a little bit of red and a little bit of blue. And I'm gonna mix them together. We're gonna make a pretty purple color. That's one of my favorite parts of painting too, is being able to mix colors, because no two mixes turn out the same, and it helps kind of create that individuality in your painting. So you can make it as dark or as light as you want, and I think it makes it fun. I'm gonna add a little bit of white just to kind of lighten it up a little bit. And I ended up with this super pretty violet color. I'll show you here. Super pretty. All right, and with that purple, I'm going to paint the inside of my heart. All right, and so with that, you're gonna wanna make sure that all of your colors are nice and bold. You can't see any black through them. And we want those completely dry before we go over and do the textures on top. So make sure that all of your paintings are completely dry. Okay, so once your colors are all dry, we're gonna go through and start doing some different techniques inside each one. So inside my teal bird, I'm actually gonna go through and put some pink polka dots. So you'll just take a small brush for that. And if you don't feel like doing polka dots, you can do little flowers or stripes or any different design that you want. I'll show you kind of how my polka dots turned it out. Alright, and so this is how my pink polka dots turned out. And then for my next bird, my yellow one, I'm actually going to take some of my purple and I'm going to kind of sponge paint it a little bit. So by that, I'm going to take it and just kind of dab, dab, dab with my brush. And with that, you may need to go back through with whatever color you used originally. And sponging usually gets out of the lines a little bit, so you'll probably have to go through with your black and kind of bolden up those lines. So now I'm going back through with my yellow, kind of blending that in. Go back through with my purple and just keep going until I get the texture I want for that bird. And there is my second bird. And then for my blue wing, I'm going to go through and put some stripes. I'm going to use our orange. So we got some orange stripes. And then for the orange wing, I'm gonna go through and put, I'm running out of ideas. I'm gonna do just some purple squigglies here on my orange wing. Some purple squigglies on that bird. And then we'll do some teal polka dots on my yellow bird's beak. And on my teal bird's beak, last but not least, we just have our little heart. For that, I'm just gonna go through and do another small pink heart in the middle. Then once that dries, I'm gonna do a purple one and then another pink one so it kind of looks like it's layered, which I'll show you that. Now I'm just gonna take my black and I'm gonna go back through all of the areas that we just painted and just make sure that my lines, anywhere that paint got outside the lines a little bit, I'm just gonna go back through and touch up. All right, then we need to do our bird's eyeball. So we're gonna do that about right there. That's just a black dot. So there's my little birds. All right, and once you're done with those and doing your outlines, now it's kind of the tricky part. So we're going to write Friends Forever up at the top, and I have a really cool font that I'm gonna be using. And so we'll take it letter by letter so we can try and get them as close to the font as possible, okay? Okay, so we're gonna do our Friends Forever across the top here, and we're gonna do it in our black. So to get a nice point on your brush, I take it, put some paint, and then I kind of twist it like this, just to get that nice and narrow there. We're gonna start by doing our first line here. And it's got a line up top. And then down here, it's actually got two lines. Like that. And then it's got 3 dots. that's your F. And then your R. So that one's got 2 lines. This one actually has a dot right in the middle there. And we have our I. Little dot on top. It's just a regular N, but we're gonna come down and do a second line there, and a second line there. And then we got dots along here. And one right there. So there's your friends. And we're gonna start with our forever. So the F is gonna look the exact same. Three dots. Our O is going to be swirl. Then we got our R. And then we've done our E and our R before. All right. So again, I'll go through each of the letters so you can kind of see what they look like. And once you have them all done, you can go through and kind of bolden your lines. And then the most important part of your painting is going to be your signature at the bottom. This shows that you were the artist that created this beautiful masterpiece. Ashlyn, I hope you had a great birthday, and I had so much fun doing your painting with you. And I would love to see pictures if you guys want to post when you're all finished.